Our next comedian and the headliner of the show, Rory Erchul.
But is everybody having a good time today? You guys enjoying this? Something a little different. And you know what? When you live in the world that we live in today, I think it's kind of fun just to go out and laugh, even if you think that some of the humor might not be all that great, like Mike's. I think, you know what the hell? You might as well just have a good time. But give it up for Will Burgett. Thank you, Will. Give it up for Mike Mendez. I always want to come up with a name like Mike Mendez, the original guy from the Rez or something like that. Where'd he go? I don't even see him anymore. Oh, there he is. Giving me the finger. But you know what? I feel sorry for Mike. I mean, he's funny and he's a great guy, but I feel kind of bad for him because he recently got scammed on eBay. He paid $150 for a penis enlarger and they sent him a magnifying glass. So, you know, he mentioned that he was the sales manager out at Fort Hall Casino, which is true, and I don't know how he ever got that job, but he's a sales manager out there, and he has a lot of comedians and the entertainers that come out there, so he has to drive them around, he has to entertain them for a while, and sometimes he's working really late, so what ends up happening is, instead of going home, he will just stay at a room at the hotel, and that makes a lot of sense. But everybody at the hotel knows one rule that Mike has, and that rule is, if there's a sock on the doorknob, do not disturb him because he's having sex with the other sock. Whenever people get in a relationship, and whether it's early on, don't you find yourself having this kind of, you like want to know their sexual history, maybe a little bit? Anybody? Yeah, maybe a little bit. You kind of, because you want to know who you're with, but you don't really want to know because it's kind of not your business, and what happened before you doesn't really matter. But when Jen and I were like 24 years ago, I finally asked, and we had this conversation. I said, "How many men have you slept with?" And she said, "Only you. The rest of them kept me awake." So I'll tell you a funny story. A couple of years ago, when we first moved back to Pocatello, it was 5 years ago. Jen was gone. I don't even know where she was, but I was at the farmer's market down here with my kids. And I'm about 40 years old at the time, 41. So I'm walking with my kids, and I walk past all these booths, right? And here's the senior games lady sitting at the booth, and it's one of those, and she looks hi, and I'm like, "Hi, how you doing?" And she's good. She says, "Hey, are you going to be joining us for the senior games this year?" And I kind of, "Oh, you're so sweet." I'm like, "No, I don't think I'm quite old enough to be in the senior games." And she said, "You only have to be 55. And I was like, "What the hell?" I mean, at first it was funny, but then she's like, "I wasn't even like 41 years old." Jesus. So here's a funny thing that happened. You know, we live on this kind of short street. There was a cul-de-sac, so there's not a lot of traffic and not a lot of things happening. But we recently had a new neighbor move in on our block, which is kind of a big thing. And it's really kind of fun to have somebody new. So a few weekends ago, Jen was gone for the weekend and I was home by myself. And so I'm kind of keeping busy, and I'm out cleaning the garage, and I'm picking up in the front yard. That's when the weather was nice and it wasn't cold. And this woman comes over, and she's middle-aged, my age, and fairly good-looking and divorced. So we chatted up, and we start talking, and we're talking for about 15, 20 minutes. And she says, "You know what I'd like to do tonight? I'd like to have a couple drinks and then have some wild, crazy sex. Are you busy?" So I was like tongue-tied and sweating, and you know, I'm kind of choking up. I was like, "No, I'm not busy." And she said, "Can you watch my dog?" So I watched her dog, and later that night, when she came to pick up the dog, there was a sock on the door. My name is Rory. Thanks for coming.